So greetings from Pennsylvania once again, and I'm back in the Johnstown area. We're going to do another video on the Johnstown flood. I was here quite a few years ago, but I have some friends that wanted to be here today. They're all back down and looking at some of the signs. So I'm going to revisit, well, I'm going to be revisiting all the sites with them that happened during the Johnstown flood. It's quite a tragic event. It happened back in May of 1889. So we're here currently at the memorial for the Johnstown flood in the visitor center. So we'll look around, we'll show you signs, we'll talk about what happened here, and so on and so on. So let's enjoy an adventure here. So here's the visitor center. They got all kinds of plaques and information that we'll look at, but down there is where the lake was, and the dam was just right over here, right by that bridge. And this is the dam that broke that caused the Johnstown flood. We'll talk about why that happened. It could have been prevented, but like a lot of disasters, it has a similar story of neglect and people not doing what they should have. So, but we'll get to all that. But nowadays, there's actually a railroad that goes through where the lake actually used to be. Yeah, you got this May 31st, 1889. There's a depiction of the flood. Yeah, so we're here, Lake Conemaugh, which is no longer there. There's the dam, the South Fork Dam. So we're going to be going to South Fork. We'll be making our way to Mineral Point. Right here is where the one railroad bridge collapsed. We'll talk about that too, because that was important. Then we'll make our way up to East Conemaugh, and then eventually up to Johnstown here, where the flood ended. So yeah. Yeah, the valley in front of you cradled a scenic lake held back by an earthen dam, Lake Conemaugh. Yeah, everything changed on May 31st, 1889. Record rainfall. Yeah, 2,200 people died. I think there's a little bit more. I think it's about 2,209, but yeah. Of course, you can pause the video and read all of that if you want to. I'm not going to read every little thing on these information boards for you. But cool, yeah, so would have been a lake down there back in 1889. It was a man-made lake, obviously. It was built by the canal company initially. It was to supply water for the canals. Because I've done a lot of videos on the canals. They needed water, and sometimes they would dam these areas, and the lakes provide water, especially during drier times. But eventually the canals didn't operate anymore, and the railroad company owned the land, but eventually the railroad company kind of abandoned it, and the land was bought up by a group of rich folk, I guess you could say, who built like a hunting and fishing club here, and they turned the lake into like a fishing spot. But they made changes to the lake that actually in some ways caused the dam to fail eventually. But we'll get to that. There's a trail that takes you right down to where the dam was. You can walk on the remnants of it. It's pretty cool. Yep, there's the gang. So yeah, there's a depiction of the dam actually failing I should say. There's a photograph. Shows where the dam used to be. Wow.
He became a public health doctor and helped eradicate plague, smallpox, cholera, and malaria throughout the world. Dr. Heiser was 92 when he was interviewed by historian David McCullough.
It's kind of like a depiction of the disaster, everything washed away. Let's head downstairs. Wow. Yeah, like I said, last time I was here, the place wasn't open. Yeah, we'll be heading to the cemetery later today, where like 700 unknown people are buried from the flood. They were, their bodies were damaged so much they don't know who they were. That's a sobering place, actually. Oh yeah, some pictures from the club that owned the lake. Cool. Yeah, the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club. These are the members. Yeah, we're down below that other. But here's some pictures of the damage. Wow. Yeah, people clear rubble from Johnstown. Look at that. Wow. There's even like a train in all that rubble. Looks like that's inside of a church. You see all the mud and everything. You can see the guy, the dude just looking out. I think that might be the stone bridge in Johnstown that stopped, that all the debris like slammed up against right there. It took them like 3 months to get rid of all this. Oh wow. Oh yeah, look. The steeple survived. Yeah, there's that stone railroad bridge again. You can see how it just slammed up everything, all the debris right up against the bridge there. Yeah, and this here must be something they recovered from the flood. Parts of a train or something? Yeah, so here they have a map of the whole flood. Of course, you can push a button there, it'll do like an animated thing for you, but that's where we are right now. Lake Conemaugh, you can see the path that it took. We're gonna head to South Fork next. Might head to that viaduct there. That's where the floodwaters slammed up against that viaduct and were stopped for a while, but then it broke through the viaduct and continued on. Then we're gonna head to Mineral Point, which was destroyed. Then we'll come all the way down to East Conemaugh and make our way to Johnstown. And this is cool too. This is the church bell from the town of Mineral Point, and they found it like it was like 8 miles downriver. And then when they rebuilt the church, they put it back in 1890. So, I mean, this heavy thing was traveled 8 miles downriver in that flood, and they were able to find it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to look like out there.
What's that?
I think that's like a draw or like a painting of what the lake would have looked like. All right, so now we're headed down to the dam. You can actually walk out on what's left of the dam. It's pretty cool. And they have some more information boards down there to tell you why it failed. Yeah, so up there's a visitor center, but you can make your way down. Well, we came down the road, and if I remember correctly, there's a trail up here. You can walk out to the dam, or what's left of it. Got the gang. It's been a couple years since I've been here, but I think there's a trail like right here. I know there's one on the other side too, but yeah, there's just a lot of traffic over there from the road. But somewhere around here, I think it might be. Is it that way? We'll see, I forget. Yeah, so the trail's actually down there. He starts up there, so I took us the wrong way. But we're gonna be heading out to that's what's left of the dam out there. So we're kind of not doing things the right way at the moment. That's okay. Yes, like I said, we're headed up there, but once again, it gives you a perspective. There's part of the dam, and over there's part of it. Like there's a train down here through now, but this is where the lake was. And you can see where the dam burst through right there. You know, it kind of went over the top and just eroded down. So the hunting club that owned this land is a lot of ways to blame. They did, when they got hold of this lake, they did lower the dam level a little bit. But something else they did was, all these dams had relief valves, like pipes and stuff that you could use to lower the water levels in case of emergency, but those pipes had been rusted and in disrepair, and the hunting club just removed them and didn't replace them. So there was no relief system for the dam in an emergency like this. There's no way to lower the dam levels. So by doing that, they kind of, in a large way, they're kind of blamed for what happened. They also installed fish traps, I guess they're called, but those fish traps that got clogged with debris from the floods flowing into the lake too, so it was just a disaster. They did do what they could to try and, they saw that it was getting ready to collapse. They did what they could. They tried to pile more like sandbags and dirt on top of it, but it was a failing effort. So, but I just think that's a cool shot. Like right where the train's going through, that's where the breach in the dam occurred there. All this was water. Like just tons of water came just rushing through there. You gotta catch up. So here we're at the spillway now for the lake. We're thinking right there's the dam, but all dammed lakes have a spillway to let the water come out. So it would flow out this way, out that way. But it talks about here how heavy metal screens had been fixed to the bottom of the spillway bridge to keep game fish from escaping. But the screens got clogged with all kinds of debris. You see them here. So the debris was kind of cutting off the escape of the water. It was debris from like the flooding flowing into the lake here. And you can see the spillway was the only outlet. Pipes and valves, I had mentioned that, were originally installed at the base, but they had been removed. So yeah, lots of mistakes were made. Yeah, so now we're going to walk out on the actual, what's left of the dam out here. Yes, this is actually what's left of the dam on this side. There's a little bit left on the other side too. And we're going to walk up right to where the breach was. So once again, the lake was all over here. So here we are looking down across the breach. You can see the other side, the other end of the dam over there. Because originally we were going all the way across, but this is the part that collapsed. Like this, all would, like I said, all would have been a lake. And the visitor center is up there. And back there was the spillway. So when there was a lake here, this stream that's flowing through here, because it's all been a lake, and that stream would have been flowing out the spillway. Alright, so I'm going to leave them back there for a bit. I'm going to quick head back up to the visitor center by another way. I made them walk quite a bit of a ways. There's a parking area right down there at this trail, but anyway, I forgot where the trail started, so I'm going to hoof it back a different way, then drive down, pick them up. So that way everybody doesn't have to walk back up. In the back, just out of breath. Kind of hoofed it up from all the way down there. Alright, if I can talk now, I'm all out of breath, but now we're headed to the first village along the way, South Fork. First village along the way of the flood. So let's get there.
Alrighty, so we are driving through the town of South Fork. This would be the first town that the flood encountered. And most people were able to escape here because it's built on a hill, as you can see. So it was between 20 and 30 houses that got washed away or destroyed.
Yeah, there's more of the town coming up too yet.
But only 4 people lost their lives. So we are traveling downhill. Imagine if I was water. Right? Seriously? Okay, so you can see here.
Whoa. This must be...
Was it down closer to where the railroad is down there? Is that where it went along the railroad?
Yeah, so, but it's, like the town is up here though, so...
Oh, I see where the water is
So the
down
water
there.
would have been down that way. See how you have to go downhill to get to the water. The town is kind of built up here on the hill. Let's see how it then continues to go up. So most people were able to escape. 4 people lost their lives.
And they could see the dam burst from up here too.
They would have been able to see what was going on and have time to get out if needed. Easy to get to high ground. I remember reading how badly they felt for the folks that weren't in a town built on high ground like this. And we're just continuing to go downhill. And the flood would have been over that way. Down behind all this. There's the sign. South Fork. Just everything built on the hill here. Isn't that interesting? And then way over there. So straight ahead would have been a nice barrier for the water to go. That would have stopped it. Still continuing down. Alright, so we're...
Yeah, so right here is where the flood, the river is right over there. So that we would have been underwater.
At this point, we
Yeah.
would be underwater. All down in there would be the water.
But you see, like, even up here, like we're up on the hill here.
Definitely up. Can definitely see the gully, how it would have kept it
Yeah.
contained. Hills on either side.
Aaron Field Trail.
So I think we go over the river here. Do we? Is there a river down there?
There's a railroad bed, and yup, the river.
Oh yeah, so that's where it went.
So this would have been, you're looking at the path that it would have taken.
So that was Dana narrating a little bit in the Jeep there. But back that way is South Fork, and they have a nice little trail here. South Fork Historical Society. Welcome to the path of the flood. So this will take you all the way up to the next town, which I think is at East Conemaugh, I think. But down here is the path of the flood. Like that's South Fork up there, and a little bit on this side. But back that way is where the dam was. So the flood waters raged through here. And if you remember that one spot on the map where the floodwaters between here and the town of Mineral Point, the floodwaters backed up against that one viaduct for a little while. There's that big bend in the stream, but then eventually the viaduct collapsed and the floodwaters continued on. That viaduct was just up the trail here a little ways. When I was here years ago, you couldn't really see. There's like just a little bit of a window through the trees where you can see the viaduct. Not a whole lot, but we're not going to be walking down there today. We're going to focus on going to some other places, including there's the museum in Johnstown too, but we're going to stop at a few other places yet. Still traveling the path of the flood. But if you wanted to at a time, you could take this trail like all the way up to the next town. And they have little information boards here and there too. So I just could walk down a little ways. There's a waterfall over here. I forgot about that. The parking lot is just right there. Yeah, I was coming to read the signage right here, but there's a, check it out, there's a little waterfall. That's cool. Just some more information here about the path of the flood. There's the dam again. We were there, like I said earlier. So, nothing that we haven't really talked about before already. So that's pretty cool. I guess I kind of remember this from last time. But wow. Alright, so the next town we're going to be heading to, which I now remember, is called Mineral Point. And they have a little memorial in town there for it. Mineral Point was wiped off the map, literally. I mean, the floods took away, there was not even soil left. You know, not just the houses, but it took everything away. There's just bedrock left in Mineral Point. And I think it was about 12 people died there. But like I said, they have a little memorial right there in town, right by the river. So that's where we're gonna head to next. So we're gonna quick check out the waterfall, but once again, you can see, now we pointed it out already, but you know, the river's down there, and you can see how most of the town is up on a hill. That's why the town was spared the brunt of the damage from the flood. That gives you a good perspective. Nice town up on a hill. All right, I'm gonna get back in the air conditioning a little bit, and then we'll, like I said, we'll head to Mineral Point. All right, so we have made it to Mineral Point. Here's the town. Even today it's just a small town, but you can see we are right next to the river, and the flood waters would have come from that way. And just up there was that viaduct that stopped the waters for a little bit, but then it collapsed and kind of reinvigorated the flood. And you remember how they said that this town was just, the house was removed, the topsoil and everything was just bare, like bedrock almost. So nothing was left. So just imagine just completely wiped off the map here. And they have some information for it. They've listed everybody's names on that little plaque there, all the people that died here in Mineral Point. Yeah, so even today it's just a quaint little town, but I'm not really sure if they knew the floodwaters were coming along or not. You know, they were trying to send, you know, some telegraphs from back where the dam was collapsing, but I mean, it's not a very big town, but 12 people did die. But you can picture just being here in town, just hearing like a rushing noise of water and just barely having time to get uphill out of the way of the water. It would have been just like absolutely terrifying. And once again, you can see how close the flood, you know, the river is, you know, town, river. Whereas at South Fork, you know, the town was up like on a hill. Here they just didn't stand a chance. You can see all their names. Oh, they have their ages too. Who's the youngest one, Mercy? Harriet, 11.
And Emma.
Oh, I missed Emma. Or is that Herman?
Emma and Herma.
And
Herma.
And
Emma and Herman are 6.
Oh, I see her up there. Yeah, and the oldest was, 85.
holy cow.
So. Yeah, the rest is a little hard to read.
It's kind of saying about how when it broke through the viaduct,
Oh yeah.
it renewed its strength.
Right.
So, and it's talking the telegraph operator. He's saying he never got the message.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering. I was talking down there. I wasn't sure if they ever got the message down here or not.
Yeah, he says he never got the message.
Oh.
He only knew something was wrong because he saw the people floating by on their houses.
Okay. Yeah.
So
right.
he sent the next message, and then the telegraph tower started to topple, and he went to higher ground.
Okay. Yeah, just notice here it says 16 people died, but I think over at the visitor center, at the dam it said 12. But anyways, that's the way it is sometimes with these information boards. So yeah, it's just kind of neat that they have the names here of all the people. Kind of makes it more personal. Yeah, so Mineral Point's a nice quaint little town. You get the town post office right there, but what's kind of scary is that right there is another dam. There's a reservoir behind there, a rather large one. So Mineral Point already got flooded once, but I'm sure that dam is probably better built than the one that was back past South Fork. But a little bit here, we're going to keep on going. We're going to be heading to the town of East Conemaugh next. We're going through the towns of, I think one of the towns is called Woodvale. I forget the other. I think there's another town too, but and then eventually we'll end up in Johnstown. I think somewhere, one of those towns we're going to stop by the railroad tracks. I'll tell you about the one story of the one locomotive operator, I guess you call him, who helped save the lives of a lot of people by his actions. So I'll tell you that story then. So we're in the town of East Conemaugh, if I'm saying that correctly. Once again, right down that way is the river, and the floodwaters, after destroying Mineral Point, the floodwaters would have come down through here. And as you can see, even today there's still train tracks and stuff. But this would be like the rail yard. This is where it just picked up all these train cars and washed them all the way down to Johnstown, which is just a couple miles down that way. And this is also roughly the location of a neat story where some guy was in one of the locomotives. I think he was facing that way, or trying to go that way, but he saw the wall of death, you could say it, coming to floods, and he put the train in reverse and just started blaring the whistle and started heading back into town. And he was able, by doing that, he gave a warning to a lot of people here in town, and they were able to escape. I mean, obviously not everybody here in town did, but a lot were warned because of him. So that's kind of a cool story. If I remember his name, I'll put it down here below. But this town, is, as well as you can see, it's not really up on a hill. It's right by the river too. But I think about 50 people died. They were trapped in the train cars here as well. That's kind of sad. They just couldn't get out of them, or else they didn't know what was happening. They just got swept away while they were in those train cars, passenger cars. All right, so we're gonna head on now. We're gonna head through Woodvale, make our way to Johnstown. Well, well, that's the cool thing. I think I can see them from here. Down this way near Woodvale, where some of the iron work, I think it's the Cambria Iron Works, and they made barbed wire and stuff. So the floodwaters, you know, they're carrying houses, train cars, all kinds of stuff. Now they're carrying like barbed wire too. So imagine all the people that got caught in that and all kinds of stuff. Pretty horrible. So that's where we're heading next. Through. I might have Dana or one of them film again as we drive through Woodvale, and then we'll see if the museum in Johnstown is open or not.
I think there was a young person. Is that why there's nothing here?
Oh, you're going the right way.
Can't see. There we go.
So that would be like the rail yard where all the cars were, I guess.
Where all the train cars got picked up. And there's the water.
Like, I think that building over there is part of the Cambria Iron Works.
Okay, so
It's
the
like they're
Iron Works was where the floodwaters picked up all the barbed wire
So I think there's like multiple buildings here.
and put that into the mix of debris.
Because they're one of the few buildings that didn't get destroyed.
It says scrap metals. Oh yeah.
Well, now we're in Johnstown.
Now we're in Johnstown.
Iron Works, I'm not sure.
There's a lot of building there.
I'm not sure if that's the Cambria Iron Works or if the other one was, but they did a lot of steel here too, like coal and steel, so.
Most of the town looks this color. Just keeps going.
Alright, I think I want to go this way.
Oh, it keeps going. Look. It's huge.
So unfortunately the museum is closed, but we're here at what's called the Point. Back behind me is the bridge. We saw that bridge when we were at the visitor center at the Johnstown Memorial. We're at the beginning of the video, but this is the bridge that kind of stopped the flood waters. And that's where you saw near those piles of debris in front of the bridge. That's this one right now. So the flood waters came raging through Johnstown, slammed up against that bridge. And some of the flood waters went up this river, going up this way, and then ended up coming back again and kind of swamping the area like twice. So, remember seeing those pictures with all the debris in front of the bridge? Like I said, that's the one right there. We'll walk down a little bit further in a moment, but yeah. Like I said, it took them like 3 months to get rid of all that debris. Because if you remember, it was just filled with logs and houses and then barbed wire and train cars just all slammed up against there, and people too. That was a tragic thing. Some people were drowning on the way here, some people were getting crushed by all the debris, and then at one point that pile got caught on fire, so if you were trapped in the debris and couldn't get out, you burned to death too. It was just a horrible, I mean, just picture that, you're stuck in the debris, you can't get out, and the fire is just coming closer and closer. It's horrible. Yeah, here they have some information, the stone bridge, when it was constructed. Talk about the flood, yeah, the Johnstown flood. Yeah, it talks about how all the water from upstream smashed into the hillside on your left, sparing the stone bridge from its full impact. For the bridge held 100,000 tons of debris piled up against it. The debris then caught fire and burned for 3 days. Conflicting reports as to the number of people who died there. Wow. Yeah, so I guess the floodwaters, as they came down, they slammed into that hillside first, instead of slamming into the bridge right away. It was probably what saved it. All right. Yeah, so today is just kind of a pleasant spot, but at the end of May in 1889, this was just a terrible scene, a horrible scene. All the way up to the point. Yeah. Wow. Oh, it's a bird. You see the different, like some of this water's a little more muddier than the others. It's kind of cool. It's like each stream that's more clear than this stream. There's some, I think those are mergansers out
Can you
there.
stand in the corner?
Swimming out there.
1, 2, 3.
Someone's getting their picture taken.
Back up there.
So in a little bit here, we're gonna head up to, actually up behind me is the Grandview Cemetery. That's where we're gonna head next. To the place, oh, you saw a picture of it at the visitor center. Well, there's like 700 some unknown buried from the flood. It is a pretty sobering spot, so that's where we'll head next. All right, so we have made it to the Grandview Cemetery after quite a bit of a detour. Unbeknownst to us, there is a political rally here in Johnstown today. Pennsylvania is kind of one of those swing states, so both candidates are spending time here, but we didn't really know that to be a political rally, so the route we were going to take up to this cemetery is blocked. There's tons of people in town, so anyway, another siren's going off. But anyway, we made it to the cemetery. Here's the monument. You can see all the graves back there. I think there's like 700 some graves back here of the flood victims. These are the unidentified dead from the flood. So just picture that. I was just thinking to myself, like, imagine you're a parent or something, and your child died in a flood, and the body was never identified or never found, and you don't really know. You could come here, but you don't. First of all, you're not sure if your child is actually buried here, and if they are, you don't. Even if they are, you don't really know which one of those markers out there is your child. It's kind of sad. Yeah, here's the large monument in memory of the unidentified dead from the flood, May 31st, 1889. And then back here you have, like I said, 700 some tombstones, all the same, no names, nothing on them. Yeah, just row upon row. Yeah, so it is kind of a sobering place. Like the first time I was here, it kind of really hit me. It was a couple years ago. And like I said, these are just the unidentified people throughout the cemetery. Like 2,200 some people died in the flood, but only roughly 750 are buried here. So throughout the cemetery, there's lots of others buried. If you would take the time to walk around, you could find, just look for a day, a date of May 31st, 1889. That's probably a flood victim. But yeah, these are the ones that they don't know. When we were at that stone bridge where all the debris was and it was on fire, that's some of those people. A lot of those people got burned, trapped in the debris, and some of them were probably buried here. But yeah, Just over there are the like 700 some unidentified ones. I mentioned that there's a number of other ones buried in this cemetery. We were just kind of looking around to see if we could find dates, and like right here some.
Gone before departure.
You know, they all, you know, May 31st, 1889. So both of them, Thomas and his wife Mary. And you said
And
there's
then William.
oh yes, interesting. Just look for the dates, and it's
And there's two there, but it's these two that are
oh,
on the memorial.
that's a memorial, but these are their actual. Yeah. Wow. Well, Mercy found another one.
Harlan, born January 1876 and died May 31st,
May 31st.
1889.
Yeah. Wow.
This
There
one
has to be a lot of them.
This one died 10 days later.
Here's another
Oh, it
1889.
might
He
have
had
been.
injuries or
Yeah,
something.
actually, yeah, that's probably a good point.
This one too.
June 10th, 18. Yeah, so they probably did.
This one died May 31st.
So probably as a result of.
William,
And that's another one up there too.
right there.
Wow. Yeah. May 31st, 1889.
Here's another one.
Goodness.
Jackson Ripple, 1889.
Well, we don't know which
Oh,
day
yeah.
though.
That was last day of the day.
Yeah, they found another one, Elmer Brinkley. Yeah, May 31st, 1889. So yeah. A lot of new ones mixed with old ones, so yeah, wow. And just back that way was where all the 700 unidentified ones were. Yeah, so if you just walk throughout the cemetery, you'd find, yeah, a ton of them with that date on them. Alright, so I think that'll be it for this video. We might stop at several places on the way back. I know they might want to visit the one church that survived, and we'll see what else. But if we stop those places, I'll probably shove them in somewhere else in this video. But anyway, yeah, if you have a chance to visit any spots, I mean, not in a disrespectful way, but one of my favorite spots on this like little tour is to stop in at the cemetery here. Just feel like, you know, you read about how many people died, but then when you come to a place like this and you actually see the number of graves that are here, it kind of hits you. So when I say favorite, I don't mean it like in a, well, you know what I'm saying. So, alright, but I think that'll be it for this video. It's my second time kind of doing this. This is the first time with friends. So, fascinating history out there, folks. Alright, thanks for coming along.